Your personal legacy is your most valuable asset. I know that some of you would wholeheartedly agree with that statement, and I'm sure there are some that would completely disagree. But no matter what your stance is right now, your life matters, and this talk is for you. Let's start with something that everyone can agree on. Storytelling is a fundamental part of being human. Stories let us share information in a way that makes an emotional connection. Stories help us to connect with each other, and stories make information more memorable. Your story conveys your personal legacy. Stories about your greatest triumphs and how your family can recreate those triumphs in the future. Stories about your greatest failures and how your family can learn from those failures so they don't happen again. Stories about what you valued most in life and why. You can't force your values onto your family, but you can be brave enough to share the story of your life as an example that they can learn from when they're ready and able to receive it. The future of your family is counting on you. Choose to be brave. I know that some of you think that your financial legacy is your most valuable asset. And that makes sense, right? After all, when we think about the word asset, we think about things that grow in value. But there's a catch. If you only focus on your financial legacy and something happens, like, I don't know, a market crash, or an illness you couldn't plan for, or tax structure changes, or, honestly, guys, I have a list as long as my arm. If you allow your financial legacy to substitute for your personal legacy, you are taking a huge risk. For most families, the further you get away from the source of wealth, the less wealth there is. In contrast, the further you get away from your ancestors, the more their personal legacy is worth. That's why people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to dig up information on their ancestors. If a little bit of information and some dog tags are worth thousands of dollars, how much would it be worth to watch your great-grandpa tell the story of his life? How much would it be worth to hear what got him through his darkest days? How much would it be worth to relive a once-in-a-lifetime conversation with him? Someday, you will be that great-grandparent. Right now, you get to decide what kind of legacy you are going to leave for the future of your family. My grandma was an amazing woman. My grandma Nina and my grandpa Joe, they couldn't have kids. So they adopted my mom when she was a baby. And they also adopted two kids, two baby boys. My grandpa Joe passed away when I was only 5 years old. So I don't have very many memories of him, but everyone that knew him loved him. My grandma Nina passed away at age 91. I was 33 years old at the time, and I have lots of memories of her. Swimming in her pool and holidays, and the odd conversation every once in a while about current events. My grandma was sharp as a tack all the way up until her final days. But despite that, we never really had a meaningful, deep conversation about her life. A few years before my grandma passed, my mom gave her one of those storybooks that has questions and spaces to write about your life. But she never wrote in it. My grandma was thrifty. She didn't waste money. So when she passed away, her three kids got a little over $100,000 each. Now, that's not FU money, but it is more than the average person will get when their parents pass away. After my grandma passed, my mom used that money to figure out what she would do next after taking care of her for 2 years. I did a legacy conversation with my mom about 18 months ago, and she still had some lingering hurt and regret about the lack of connection. That $100,000 didn't make that hurt go away. It didn't all of a sudden make her feel connected to her mom. It was a stepping stone and nothing more. That $100,000 also didn't have any impact on my life. It didn't have any impact on my kids, and it didn't have any impact on their kids someday. My grandma was a beautiful, gentle woman that navigated the Great Depression and a world war. She navigated not being able to have kids and raising 3 adopted children as her own. Her life was an epic journey. And tragically, most of that journey is lost now. Imagine if I had been doing this 6 years ago. Having her life story on video for my whole family to enjoy and learn from would have been priceless. But that's not how life works, right? Our loss, our pain, our regrets, they drive us to help others avoid the pain that we feel. And that's why I'm here today, trying to reach you before it's too late, trying to help you avoid that pain that I feel, that my mom feels, that loss of connection that I can't get back from my kids. I decided during a pandemic that also losing my parents' stories wasn't an option. I spent almost $50,000 creating the legacy conversation system that anyone can access today for only $2,000. I spent that money, all of my money, during a time of extreme uncertainty. Why would I do that? Am I crazy? I built a successful repair and remodeling business over the last 12 years, and I don't think anyone that knows me would say I'm crazy. I pushed in all of my chips on personal legacy for the future of my family, and so that anyone else that gets it, that understands the value of personal legacy, doesn't have to lose what I lost. Your life has value. Your struggles have value. The connection that you have with your family has value. When you properly account for everything that your personal legacy is and can mean to your family, the scales will clearly show what your most valuable asset is. The future generations of your family are depending on you. Choose to be brave. Choose to share your story.